Let's talk about electricity, cities, power, enlightenment, these types of things. Somebody had asked about whether or not everyone can become an archetype of sorts or an archon or some sort of, I guess the idea would be that someone would be a pillar of information. And I would turn that into even using the idea of what pyramids and what cities are. So, right off the bat, we have to look at the word city. CITY, which is the word SIDDHI, which has to do with enlightenment, has to do with power, it has to do with the cities, or it's a place of power or a person with mystic powers. Even the word mystic is a very interesting one in and of itself, because what it means to be a mystery or to be mist, to in like rain, MIST, mist. So it's a misty, foggy thing. It's not quite air, it's not quite water, it's a mystery. So in this mystery, as people become Mister, become a city, a place of power, a generator, an archetype force, everyone has that capacity. Everyone has that capability. But the experience that we have here in this realm, in this time frame, this dimension, however you want to lay that out, this place, this the way the energy is. Some people, it's just like in school. Some people are in first grade and some are in 12th, and the level of information they've been provided is different. Obviously, in 12th grade, there is more information in that storehouse, that person, that capacitor. So it's a matter of understanding. To be a city, let's say this. To be a city in of itself, the city, like, say you go into New York City or Chicago, it looks like a circuit board. It is a circuit board. Somebody's running the circuit. And what are all those circuits? What are the pieces to the city? What are the pieces to electricity? Electricity is electric city. Elect the city. So the electric city has to do with the L's and the angles of what that is, and the male power dynamic. There is also the female hidden dynamic, which is the magnetism, because there is a magnetism to the city. If you get into the center of the city, you go downtown, you spin down into a spiral, and you can get caught down there. There's an understanding of the electricity of the city spits out and brings in. It sucks and it pushes. So it's a combination of both, but it's just more magnified as in the male power. This is what is protruding from the earth and what you see. Although it's grounded out to the earth, it always is. And it's a matter of, to become an archonic type force, to become a stabilized unit of power, meaning a city. The same way, if you're sitting there in meditation, you say Om. Om has to do with the electrical resistance. So if we look at the circuit board, we look at all the things that go into what makes a city, whether it's a circuit board or the actual city, there are different pieces to that, and inside each person, you have a different set of experiences and you have different powers in you. You have different, depending on when you were born, depending on the amount of information you've brought in, if you've altered things in your consciousness and your own body. Are you a generator of power? Are you an amplifier of it? Are you a resistor to things? Do you switch things? Are you something that has a low fuse? There's a lot of ideas that go into this. And you could take a look at all your places that you've lived. You could take a look at the jobs that you've had and what kind of things that you have ingested within those jobs, and have they given you a good framework, a blueprint for how to be the chief executive. So in a tribal situation, the chief is always elected. A chief doesn't, within a native tribe, it's not like the chief executive officer of a building. Now it's much different. See, one's organic and one's inorganic. See, the chief that is elected, they have all of the skills. They have all of the experience. They have all of the knowledge. They are the city unto themselves. They are the shaman. They are the power because they've had the experiences. They've understood the workings. So here's the parallel. A company that has a chief, a corporation that has a chief that never mopped the floors, that doesn't know the inner workings of the building, the system of what it takes to run. If someone ran a McDonald's, if they don't know, or if they haven't experienced what it is to, you know, to mop a floor, to make a burger, to go all through all those experiences, to have that type of knowledge. Now, in a franchise, it works a little different, and don't take this too literally, but let's just use a different business, for example. That to be the chief of that business doesn't take anything. But if you have a chief that knows all of the things in an organic system, like a chief of a tribe or a shaman that actually has the power, the organic power, it's because they know what it means to be the source of the power. They know what it means to be a capacitor. They know what it means to be able to put a switch together. They know the electrical system. They know what the system looks like. They know what a fuse does. They know what a circuit breaker is. Now, across the board, you at any point in time can be any one of those things. There are times when you're dealing with family or friends or whatever it is in the environment where you need to be a switch. You need to change something. There are times when people have no energy where you need to imbue power into that and become some sort of a capacitor or a battery. There are times that your fuse will break. Somebody will upset you and a fuse will break. And then those are things that you need to look at about upgrading your fuse, upgrading the power that can run through your system. So to get to the point of becoming the epicenter, the center source, the city yourself, the controller of a city, to run an empire, an imp of the pyre, I did the little word crafting a little while ago, to peer off into everything, has to do with what the mystic is. It has to do with the space in between, what is the earth and what is the sky, the thing that kind of is water but could take any form. It's a mystery, but within that there's the condensation of a lot of knowledge, a lot of gnosis, a lot of experiences that allow this city to be powered in a certain way. Now there's direct current and there's alternating current. A direct current would be like DC. Think about it. DC in America. Direct current. District of Columbia, DC. It means the power comes from the government. The ones that govern the mind give a direct current of energy. But if you go to Atlantic City, AC, what you see is there's a alternating current of power, meaning some people win, some people lose, the house wins. There's a back and forth energy flux. Just like what happens in Vegas, as in the vagus nerve, Las Vegas. So there's a changing hands of energy all the time. From this to that, to this to that, it's back and forth. So if you inside of yourself can create an alternating system of energy between the left and right hemispheres, between the male and the female dynamic, but at the same time be a direct source of that energy, then you've combined the two. Your spine being the direct singular pole of energy, and then winding that pole with the snake, winding that pole with the alternating current, magnetism and electric, back and forth, male and female, then you become a power source. Now, it is not only a feeling of a power source, it's also a mentality of it. And it can work both ways. You can have the understanding and the wisdom, and you can push that down into your system and then obtain the actual feeling of the power, or you could actually be instilled with the power yourself to begin with. This is, some people, it's climbing the ladder, and some people are going down the ladder. Some people have gone from their heads into the basement to see what's going on in the base mind, where the circuit breakers are, where the power comes from, the basement of the house, the base mind, the lower chakras. So people that were heady walked down there, and they figured out what was happening down there. There were some broken breakers. There were some switches that need to be fixed, and they fixed them, and they powered up the system. And there's other people that worked in the basement, and they climbed up to the top of the mountain, to the top of the ladder. It can go either way. You could start anywhere in there. But it's a matter of knowing and accessing where you are currently. Knowing that you're on the circuit, that you're on the board, You're on the whole thing. You're part of it. You could be the whole entire thing if you wanted to, if you chose to, if you wanted that responsibility, meaning ability to respond. It's not a burden, it's a pleasure. But getting there, it can seem like a burden. All of the work that you'd have to do to become a source of power, a city, how much energy that fluxes through a city, whether it be the SIDDHI or the CITY, whatever source you're looking at, whether organic or inorganic, it comes it comes from a place of earthing, of grounding, and then combining it with what is the electrical static universe around you. It's binding the two together, and that's the mystic. And so to become that in every sense, there's a lot of grounding and there's a lot of astral travel. There's a lot of getting out of body. There's a lot of dreaming. And it's sandwiching those two together and producing what a pyramid would do. If we look back into what the pyramids actually were, it was an energy center for the entire city. And it spit out a reality. And to become that pyramid, the center of the skull, to get into your head, to get into your heart, to get into your lower chakras, to bind them all together and to spit out the energy, that's called the magnus opus or the magnum opus, the great work. You do it your whole life and maybe you'll accomplish it. But some people, it's like you get to the point of having amassed the entire thing. You've put a mast up and you've become a captain to a ship, and you can choose to steer the ship or you can do something else. Some people don't even know their ship is ready to go. Some people have no clue that they have all of it done. And even if you don't, you can still push the ship around. You can still, you're on the ship. You might as well steer it. You should do something with your energy. And whether that's just to stay within the chakras you're in and the energy centers you're in, so be it. If you're good at it and you know where you are and that's what you like doing, then do it. And if you want to change gears and get into a different set of understandings, a different set of wisdom, if you want to, instead of being a fixed resistor, want to become the battery, you can do that. You could change gears. You can be the generator of the source power. Some people sit back and they're just strong. They're strong in every way. And they sit there and they ground themselves out. They might not have a lot of brain power. They might be what's on the earth, giving the power and pushing the power into other systems. And if that's what you are and that's what you like doing, that's just fine. But if you'd like to become the archonic force of what you are yourself as a complete 360 degree, and that's not even right, but it would be a zero to become everything, everybody has that capacity. Everybody has that capability. And even if you don't become and want to do that in this lifetime or whatever, that still doesn't negate you from being able to create a reality that you like. It still doesn't take away from your power as a magician. You just have to identify with what you are, take a good look at your skills and your abilities and what you're capable of. And some people want to go and explore other tunnels of knowledge, other things that they could do to expand themselves. Other people are very happy with what they're doing. So it's just a matter of making your choice of what you'd like to do from this point as a magician. Because even within what you're doing, you can expand what you're doing. If you even had a small business, you could expand that business. You could have if you had one tiny little business selling cell phones, you could, expand that to 100 if that's what you chose to do. Or you could start a business doing something else completely. They're both valid choices. One is climbing up and another one is stepping to the side. It's just your experience. But again, getting to the point of being the generator, the mystic, the source of things, well, that takes internal work. That's collapsing and breathing in everything, all of your experiences, taking a look at all your experiences and looking at them from a different sight. Clean yourself and then see where you've been and what you've been through and take the good from it. Throw the rest away and then start from there. And someone had asked me about depression and dealing with social anxiety. And I think this has a lot to do with this as well, because again, I like to make these things to bridge different ideas together. And this has to do with becoming your own perfect perfected self, what you think that is. And so, what does this have to do with anxiety? What does this have to do with social anxiety? Well, the anxiety people have is that anxiousness is energy. It's energy towards creating a future. Now, everyone I think has social anxiety, but the way it's played out in people's the way that they look, you have introverts and extroverts. People internalize energy, so they don't want to. They don't function well in groups. That's not a disorder. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. And there's people that go out there and they act wild, and they deal with the exo world, the experience outside of themselves. They're loud and boisterous, and they're extroverts, right? But that doesn't mean they're not anxious about it. So in both ways, there are people that display things that are imbalanced. It should be looked at as an imbalance. The idea of being more comfortable with oneself, whether being introverted while in a group or being extroverted, is what you're looking for. It's the balance of, it's the comfort of. And that balance and comfort comes out of your own mind and being secure with what you are, as whatever system you are. If you are a capacitor, if you are a resistor, if you are a whatever it might be, if you're the battery to it, being comfortable in that position or changing it. And so those anxieties have to do with boiling things down to be centering yourself. And to do that, the process, as I'll always suggest, has to do with cleanliness is next to godliness, meaning clean your body. So that way you're not those microcosmic orbits of ideas and theories that you have, they disappear. And so those anxiousnesses that you have towards creating a future disappear. And even the depression that goes along with that of past memory. And this goes into the last videos I've done as well. By getting rid of and putting pressures on physical parts of your body by doing certain postures or getting massage or whatever it might be, those loosen up memories as well and loosen up depression as well as anxieties, because people are anxious about things because, hey, I can't go do that because my leg hurts. So there's anxiety about going out and doing something. So it's, as your body is the memory system, you're getting rid of charged, stored memory in the body so that you can explore different facets of yourself and be comfortable with where you are and who you are and how you are. And then going from there to choose something new if you'd like, or to continue on a path. So I hope that answered a few questions. And once again, get into yourself and what you are. Clean yourself out. Get rid of the things that don't serve you and understand where you are in the circuit board and where you are in your body. And if you want to become a mystical servant, here you go again. It's the idea of service to self and service to others. The Siddhi doesn't serve itself. It serves everyone, but it serves the people in power too. It's a two-way street. It's the Siddhi that sits there and meditates. People would say, "Oh, that's selfish," but is it? That Siddhi is serving plenty of people. The Siddhi. Either way you look at it, the energy system is serving something. It's serving self and it's serving others. It's bound together. It always will be. How it functions and if it's working to its highest capacity, that's another story. That's another idea. Is it clean energy? That's another story. Is it completely beneficial to everyone? That's a whole other idea. But getting to the place of doing that, to becoming serving self and then serving others and doing it instantaneously, unified, is being comfortable with where you are. I can help when I can help and I can't when I can't. You have power to do certain things and not others. And it's about being comfortable in that place and if you'd like to, expand that capability. So I hope this served everybody well, and we'll chat soon.